Babysitting rule. Don't mention the man in the basement. Part 3. Hey guys, another update for you. I didn't think things could get worse, but they did. I told my friend Annie about what was happening. She's practical, skeptical, and not easily impressed. If I wanted someone to tell me I was overreacting, it would be her. Maybe that's why I told her. Part of me still wanted to believe it was all explainable, all in my head, and I thought she could help me see that. You are such a lunatic, she laughed as I finished telling her the story. I braced myself for ridicule, and yep, I got it. She rolled her eyes, poked fun at the weirdest details, and dismissed my fear. Tell me you do not believe in ghosts, she said. It's an old house. Old houses creak, settle, make noises. It's nothing. None of that supernatural stuff is real. Her words should have calmed me. Maybe part of me wanted them to, but the memory of how I felt in that house kept my stomach in knots. Against my better judgment, I asked her to come with me the next Friday night. I felt like having someone there like Annie, someone so skeptical and disbelieving, would make it less scary. She would be practical and explain all of the noises and make me see that it was all in my imagination. I needed her to do that for me. When I arrived at the house Friday night, the atmosphere was immediately different. Heavy, charged. As soon as I stepped inside, I felt it. The house was aware of me. Something inside it was aware. Margaret and David were tense. Did you go into the basement? Margaret asked, voice tight. No, I said quickly. Did you open the door? David's gaze lingered on me, searching. No, I lied. They exchanged a long look with each other, but didn't press it further. I got the feeling they knew I was lying. How did they know? Did they have cameras hidden somewhere? I was embarrassed that we all seemed to know I was lying, but I was glad they didn't question me. Maybe they knew if they questioned me, it would open up a conversation about what was down there, and it was obvious that was a conversation they wanted to avoid at all costs. They, as always, told me the 3 rules. 1, don't go near the basement door. 2, Jamie asleep by 9 p.m. 3, no talking about the man in the basement. Before they left, I asked would it be okay if a friend dropped over later. They seemed unsure. Normally, I would have picked up their hesitation and told them it's okay. I can see they're not comfortable with it and I won't have her come round. But I let their discomfort linger. I just needed Annie there. I have a feeling they have a tough time keeping babysitters. I wonder why. So they agreed I could bring a friend. They left, and I found Jamie in the living room, small and pale. He was lying on the couch watching cartoons and, as always, seemed tense. He tried to smile back at me, but his eyes were wary. I sat down beside him, and he leaned in and whispered, "It's different now." "What's different?" I asked, hoping the answer would be about his cartoon. "The man in the basement." I immediately felt unsettled, but I didn't push. I just nodded. He reached out and held my hand, seeking comfort. His other hand gripped the blanket wrapped tightly around him. I looked at his little hand, cold and clammy in mine, and felt a wave of protectiveness. A million thoughts ran through my mind. What was different? How is it different? What's changed? But I knew it wasn't fair to Jamie to question him about it. I wanted him to lose himself in the kids' world of cartoons, have a break from the heaviness of his fear, and not have to talk about something that was clearly troubling him. Annie arrived, and I tried to keep things normal, showing her around, joking quietly to her about the haunted basement, and pointing out the creaks in the old floors. We then ate some snacks, and Annie showed Jamie how to play a card game. She was good with him. I felt myself relaxing. Maybe Annie was right. I was a lunatic. I put Jamie to bed, then sat with Annie on the couch and chatted. It all seemed okay. The house made noises, shadows shifted, drafts blew, and Annie laughed at every sound, mocking my fear. See? Totally explainable, she said, rolling her eyes. Then it happened. A shadow moved across the room, fast. Too fast to be explained. I froze, heart hammering in my chest, each beat echoing in my ears. The air around me grew icy and heavy, pressing down, making it hard to draw a full breath. I looked at Annie to see if she noticed it too, waiting for her explanation, wanting it. Come on, Annie. Tell me it was nothing. I saw her glance out the window to see if a passing car had created that shadow, forgetting how far we were from the road. Then, a scraping sound came from the basement door, faint at first, like claws dragging over old wood, then louder, sharper, like it was trying to claw its way out. Annie laughed nervously, her voice trembling just slightly. It's just an old house. It's fine, she said, brushing it off with a wave of her hand, though her laugh didn't quite reach her eyes. And then, a bang. Loud, shattering, the kind of noise that makes your stomach lurch, your blood run cold. It echoed through the hallway, rattling the windows and the picture frames. Annie froze, and for a brief flicker, doubt crossed her face. She opened her mouth, hesitated, and swallowed. The sound had woken Jamie. He appeared at the top of the stairs, small and sleepy, hair sticking up in every direction. His voice, shaky and half-dreaming, asked, "What was that bang?" Annie's eyes lit up with relief, as if the opportunity to brush it off had been handed to her. She jumped up from the couch, a little too quickly, a forced cheeriness in her movements. "I'll tuck him back in," she said, voice sing-songy, trying to sound happy. "Come on, little man." She skipped up the stairs, almost bounding, and gently guided Jamie back into his room. I sat still, staring at the staircase, listening. The house was silent again. Only the clock ticked, steady and indifferent, and the fire flickered in the hearth, casting dancing shadows on the walls. My pulse was still hammering. I slowly exhaled and tried to calm myself. I decided to grab the bag of potato chips that Annie had brought, something to take my mind off the tension. The kitchen was quiet, except for the soft crinkle of the bag in my hands. As I turned to walk back to the living room, I heard it before I saw it. A scream. It was raw, sudden, and filled with pure terror. I froze, stomach dropping, then bolted toward the stairs. Annie was tumbling down the staircase, a horrifying blur of limbs and thuds. Each step she hit made a sickening crash. Railings rattled, wood groaned, and I could hear the impact of her body on each stair. I reached her just as she lay sprawled at the bottom, unconscious, her arm bent at an odd angle. My hands shook as I shook her gently, calling her name. No response. Panic clawed at me. I ran into the living room, grabbed my phone, and dialed 911, voice trembling. I felt so guilty I had brought her here. This was all my fault. If I hadn't been so afraid, she'd be at home or out with friends. She wouldn't have tripped on the stupid old staircase and be lying unconscious on the floor. It felt like forever before I finally heard the sirens wailing faintly in the distance, each passing second stretching impossibly long. My chest tightened, my heart thundering in my ears as I knelt beside her, praying she'd be okay. Jamie was still asleep in his bed, completely oblivious to the chaos downstairs. How? How could he sleep through this? She screamed so loud, and the fall was thunderous. I was just grateful that he did, and I didn't have to deal with both him and Annie. When the ambulance arrived, I gave a rushed explanation, still panicked, still shaking. The paramedics moved quickly, carefully lifting Annie onto a stretcher. As they lifted her into the ambulance, I squeezed her hand, and then she woke up. She opened her eyes, searching for some familiarity. "I'm here," I tried to comfort her. "You're okay. You fell down the stairs." She found my eyes and stared at me with scared intensity. "He pushed me," she whispered hoarsely. I held my breath. The man from the basement, ghost or demon or whatever it was, it must have hurt her. My pulse jumped, heart in my throat. She whispered clearly, "Jamie."